The developers of Kingdom Hearts played a trick on your brain the moment you arrived at Hollow Bastion. Most players still haven't noticed it 20 years later. And today, I'm going to explain it. Here's what's happening. Your friends abandon you. Your Keyblade, the weapon you relied on the entire game, is stripped away from you. You're in the biggest world with the most dangerous enemies, and all you have is a dinky wooden sword and a stranger who's already wounded. For the first time all game, you feel powerless. But it's not just because you no longer have your trusty Keyblade. No. The creators of Kingdom Hearts are doing something else. There is more than meets the eye. Literally. It's something lying under the surface experience of the game that plays with our brains and truly makes Hollow Bastion unforgettable. It's the music. Before I explain the psychological trick they're playing, I have to give you a really brief lesson in music theory. Don't worry, we'll make this interesting. Let's put it all in terms of bananas. Our brains are wildly complex, but at their core, they're still monkey brains. Monkey brain-like balance, monkey brain-like symmetry. Almost every song you've ever listened to is probably in 4/4. Imagine 4 bananas for every measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's symmetrical, even. No matter how you divide it, things are tidy. And monkey brain like tidy bananas. Now, the music in Hollow Bastion does something different. As soon as you free yourself from that god-awful gummy ship section and land among the upward moving waterfalls, you hear this. That's not a nice even 4-banana rhythm. The music is in 5/4, which means 5 bananas for every measure. And that's not all. Being in 5/4 would be weird enough, but Yoko Shimomura, the composer behind this devious track, went a step further. She did much more than just stray from the typical 4/4 feel of modern music. The Hollow Bastion tune is in what's called a 5/4 clave, which means you have 2 long beats followed by 2 short beats. You might recognize this pattern from Mission Impossible. The connection to Mission Impossible is where this psychological trick really gets interesting, but more on that in a minute. For now, back to the bananas. There are lots of reasons why a 5/4 time signature sounds strange. One of those reasons is that more than 90% of mainstream music is written in 4/4. So anything that strays from that, understandably, sounds unfamiliar. Okay, but why 5/4? If 4/4 sounds normal, 5/4 is pretty close to that. Why not write something in, 23/16, for example? Your brain syncs its electrical impulses with music. Yeah, seriously. Monkey brain crave music. So when you hear 4/4 or a time signature that's symmetrical, the activity in your brain literally feels right. So wouldn't more weirdness be better? Well, it would, if the composer was just trying to make things feel chaotic. But the Kingdom Hearts composer doesn't want you to feel confused. She wants you to feel something else. Something very specific. Something that really drives home just how daunting the world of Hollow Bastion is. So how does the 5/4 clave get her there? Well, another way to represent this whole clave structure, the long, long, short, short, is strong, strong, weak, weak. And it's the same thing in Mission Impossible. You know, the story about a single person facing near impossible odds. An impossible mission, if you will. Maybe you can tell where I'm going with this, and if you know what comes next, then you've maybe finally figured out why this track is so fitting for the area. See, whether you realize it or not, the music in Hollow Bastion gives you a sense of imbalance. Specifically, power imbalance. Your brain, the one that syncs its electrical impulses to music, totally subconsciously thinks strong, strong, weak, weak. Strong, strong, weak, weak. And so here you are, dropped into an unfamiliar world, stripped of the weapons that made you feel safe, having lost the friends who were mostly useless but gave you a sense of familiarity, and coupled with a stranger who's injured from the get-go. You feel weak. And that music that plays just reinforces that idea. Strong, strong, weak, weak. The world is strong, the enemies are strong, and you are weak. In fact, everything in Hollow Bastion reinforces this idea. You have no weapons, no friends, no hope. The enemies are daunting. The world is dangerous. The waterfalls move upward, for God's sake. And the music, that song you hear but don't really notice, the 5/4 beat that's strange for a reason you can't quite put your finger on, it all makes your brain realize something's wrong. Something's uneven. And that is the magic of video game music. It's lying there under the mechanics and the gameplay and the art and the story and the combat, just out of reach of your consciousness. And that's exactly where it wants to be. Obscured enough that you don't focus on it, but present enough that it can toy with your emotions. That is why you'll never forget when you first dropped into Hollow Bastion. With your oversized shoes, a duck, and this thing by your side, and a melody that's still stuck in your head 20 years later. Thanks for watching.